flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world. Casino, out of the 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 casino. Flip it for the edge, flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world.
Child just gotta run downstairs. Seven times from the main room of jazz. Tall tales run downstairs. Seven times from the main room of jazz. Casinos run downstairs. Out of the casino, 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 out of the casino. Flip it for the edge, flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world, flip it for the edge, flip it for the world. Ready?
Storm is coming, baby. And everyone who knows, who knows, who knows, who knows, who knows it best. Formidable opponent, angry crackpot. Formidable opponent, dangerous lecture. Formidable opponent, you can walk out. Formidable opponent, think you had the choice. Formidable opponent, angry crackpot. Formidable opponent, dangerous lecture. Formidable opponent, you can walk out. Formidable opponent, think you had the choice. Float, the moon is calling. A souvenir, a swimmer's rescue. Our name, not fixing the phone, mixing your liquids. Now you're left for dead. Just pay your debts. Float, the moon is calling. A souvenir, a swimmer's rescue. Our name, not fixing the phone, mixing your liquids. Now you're left for dead. Just pay your debts. Float, the moon is calling. A souvenir, a swimmer's rescue. Our name, not fixing the phone, mixing your liquids. Now you're left for dead. Just pay your debts. Float, a formidable
sorry. Oh babe, I'm not sorry. I keep on pulling you back from the edge, but I got nothing to say or defend myself, so I'm sorry. Oh man, I'm not really sorry. I keep on pulling myself back from the edge, but I got nothing real to say for myself, but I'm sorry. Oh babe, I'm not sorry. I keep on pulling you back from the edge, but I got nothing to say or defend for myself, so I'm sorry. Man, I'm not really sorry. Oh, wild wizard, into the blackness we break. Fly your blue heart to cast all the shadows away. Oh, wild wizard, into the darkness we drink. Fly, young sweetheart, in the host of the shadows vibrate. heaven to get off. Sick of if you wanna live. Kids on holiday. You never know what's in the skies today. Oh, what's in the air? No, nothing you can see. No, nothing you can be. What's in the air today? Please don't shake my little rocket boat. Days go by, but I still roll. All we need are friends in the rain. Coming around again, coming around again. Don't need no chains. Yeah. Jurassic trees built enough to please the tourists. Oh, no one knew, wishing we could live in caverns. Carved a name upon a tree, waited for you at the edge of the forest. 100 summers just to get to know you. I'll shine the catechies so you find me back again. If the time will come again, never know, I never know, and that's why I keep saying, please don't shake my little rocking boat. Don't shake my day tonight, but I still do. Need friends in the rain, coming around again, coming around again. Don't we know? I don't know what you're doing to me, oh baby, I don't know what you're doing to me. the sun goes supernova. 10,000 days on earth, I've waited all the lonely trip. 10,000 days on earth, I've played along while the record skips. And all I've got to say, we all rock the same. Oh, all I got to say, we all rock the same. Come on, high, floating slow, the dancing sun. That is no mirage. High, floating slow, the dancing land. Throw your arms down. Just a whisper from your thunder, just the crackling of the rain. Don't go missing in the splendor. Try to capsize my brain. And all I got to say, we all rock the same. Oh, all I got to say, we all rock the same. Come on.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Just want to hop on. I guess a few people joined. What's going on, Awake? Thanks for hanging out with me, bro. Skunk for stopping by, and Prow as well. What's up, Tom? I saw you there. G Kozak, thanks for stopping by. What's up, Z Proxy? How you doing, bud? So just zoomed in here on this area that looked interesting. I set up the contrast pretty high. It's really washed out right now, so I'm just messing around a little bit. Had a long night out tonight. Went out at like 6 p.m., got back like an hour ago. So that's it. Just hanging out here with a full moon. Figured I'd get a little stream in on the graveyard shift. Running for maybe another 15, 20 minutes. So I want to say this is, where is this? Just getting this atlas up too. It's like right center. What crater is this? I want to say it's Gassendi, but it's not Gassendi. It's like... Just looking here for a second. Yo, what's up, Mo P? How you doing? Yeah, I just need a little locator. Let's see where I'm at. I feel like Tico is to the left. Maybe I'm wrong. Look at all these markings. It's crazy. I mean, I know I'm torturing the image with the contrast, but alright, so that is Tico. So Tico's rays bleed into the right. I gotta zoom out a little bit. So that is Serenity, Tranquility, and it's rotated, so that must be Mare Nectaris, which means the crater that I was trying to recognize. I guess it's Theophilus. It's so crazy. Yeah. It seems insane, but it is Theophilus, which is a very noticeable crater at different phases. Right now it's kind of completely flattened out, but this central region, like when I hit that contrast, it looks very, very square shaped. I don't know, the pareidolia is strong tonight. I'm just talking, but I think it's right around here. Yeah, right there. Almost looks like mathematical formulae. Ooh, we got Mosquito Company. Yeah, let me know if you see this kind of like white definition that almost looks like a rectangle, almost enclosing this crater, which is Theophilus, and the little mare, which is Mare Nectaris. What's really cool when you bust these contrast features up, you can see what really stands out. Like just crossing over here, this area is the Apennine mountain range leading into Copernicus, Eratosthenes, Mare Imbrium, all dark, but you can see Plato and then Montes Recti, Montes Tenerife. Everything looks so small because I guess you can see all the features now in the full moon. Anaxagoras looking decent, hanging out here at the 2 o'clock. Mare Crisium and Mare Marginis, Mariandarm. Mare Crisium has been looking good for the last 3-4 nights too. Yeah, the tires are creeping in. What's up, J-Bomb? Welcome. This is right around the walls of Sea of Serenity. This area looks really great. Lots of, especially with this contrast thing going on, but all the bright white, young, small craters moving into all the rays and kind of tendrils coming off of Copernicus over here, which looks spectacular. Lots of depth. Just moving around here. Got Kepler above it. Just getting up around Aristarchus. That's Raynor and Raynor Gamma, the little, like, cobra head. Damn, got some shit in my eye. Alright. Adjust. Are you guys hearing me okay? Yeah, I think. There we go. Raise this a bit, move around to Aristarchus, Raynor Gamma. This is such a great place to kind of see this feature, which we don't really get to see very often. That's what I started with originally. You can see this kind of like lightened smudge region, almost like that long smudge that we see from Tycho crater. But like very straight divide at the very top between the light and dark regions. Almost as if that kind of lighter region traversed across the darker region from the top. Yo, Mo P, me too, just getting in. I appreciate everybody stopping by. There are a few people in the chat. I know everybody's about to crash too. 3:16 a.m. I don't know, it's way too clear to go to bed. I kind of loved it. Like, it's really cool. Like, the full moon provides such a particular look at the moon, at the surface rather. I'm really fascinated by all the different colors and the textures. This little area right here looks like 3 letters. I'm gonna do a little Pareidolia tour. And for those of you who don't know what I'm saying, Pareidolia, I believe is how you pronounce it. I don't even have to link it, I'll just explain it. Pareidolia is just like seeing faces in patterns, things that aren't really there, or, you know, might be there, but the recognition of patterns as other things. ZP, what do you want me to upgrade to? Night vision, 25-inch telescope. Oh, my 43K cam. I'm in the A6000 series, so as soon as they upgrade the A65 or A67, I guess is the one that's coming up soon. I was considering getting the A9, but I feel like the A67 will be more affordable and probably just as good. Little touch screen action, and then what else will it have? Full swivel, 4K 60, and yeah, I don't know, it'll just be another good cam to have. That's a pretty sharp shot right there. 99.9% illuminated. We're basically full. As full as can be. Z-Proxy, how about you? When are you going to upgrade to the P1000? Start doing some 4K footage. Now 4K Moon is going to be just like way too saturated once the P1000 like really hits. See, that's without any contrast. It's like so washed out. It's crazy. Sneak in those settings just a little bit. Reduce that brightness. Increase the gamma. Nice, Tom. Yeah, you told me you were gonna get that. That's cool. I'm excited to see all the work that's gonna come out. Are you gonna skip the P1000? Get the P10000? Zooms right through the moon. No shit, the clouds are kind of creeping right now. I'm gonna try this filter. I got a light pollution reduction filter. Just gonna throw that on. Maybe it'll decrease some of the glow. Yeah, no 3x awake. Yeah, 3x would just be washed out at this point. But I did have that sky glow filter. Not sure if it's much better, but I guess it did reduce the glow a little bit. Z, you're gonna get that 240 FPS 5K. You know, like I said before, it's really a matter of being able to process all that data too. It's not just getting the footage. Can't tell you how much work it is to just like get all this 4K stuff. So for example, like I'll do like a 20-minute clip here, 4K, and it takes just forever to edit it. But you chip away. episode, so I don't know, just scoping around here for just a little bit longer. It's starting to fade a bit. Got some people in. Hope you guys are all doing well. Had a fun night tonight. What is it, are we Saturday already? No, it's Sunday already. Jeez, this weekend just went like like a wisp of smoke. Z-Proxy says, FYI, 2 minutes of 8K 60, 7200 frames, 360 vid takes up to 200 gigabytes and 3 days to render. Those are just a lot of numbers, man. I was still trying to do like a 5-minute 4K video that doesn't take like an hour and a half to render. But soon, you know, I got like a decent PC, and they released some of the new graphics cards, but really it's just like, it's kind of still maybe a year or two away before you can really mess with it like you do with HD and kind of preview everything. And like it's also another thing entirely to process it, like with filters, for example. Like if you've ever brought 4K footage into Premiere or After Effects and like tried to hit sharpen or like any of the Gaussian filters or levels and then tried to preview it, forget it, man. Like trying to really make a video with any type of analytical data or side-by-side footage, I just, you know, like I know it's doable, but it's so much work considering how much time it takes. I gotta say it's kind of lucky to be able to just stream 4K directly and produce it live, because otherwise I don't even know if I'd be doing that much of it. Hey, what's up, Sabian Geometry? Wide-eyed in Texas, awesome. Thanks for stopping by tonight, this morning. Yeah, I'm really digging this northern area with Aristarchus, that kind of whole region that cuts in. That was where the Terminator line was yesterday, kind of moved past it. I'm not so sure that sky glow filter makes it that much better. Might just take it off. That's a little better actually without the filter. Just the focus just a little bit. You saw it kind of went red for a second. That is just like a light adjustment. It's really interesting though. It happened a couple of times during like the gibbous phase. The last few nights, kind of been doing this weird thing. Just I feel like it kind of gets in the light and then tries to readjust, but I notice things out of the ordinary. Yeah, the shaders, that's for sure. I mean, the Titan cards are kind of amazing, all the NVIDIA stuff that's coming out, but it's still super expensive. So Orion is also coming up. I'd love to be able to get some M42, but it's so far east from the scope. I'm not sure I'll be able to even get it, but I guess it's almost up, so I think I'm just gonna wait a little bit, maybe try and get Orion. Let's see. Yo, what's up, Loud Valves? Thanks a lot, man. For playing some of these tracks in the background. This one's called Golden. I usually have lyrics on this one, but I rendered it out as an instrumental. Footage and I'll try and compose a song that I'm inspired by on the keyboards, for example. Sometimes it really works, you know what I mean? Just like you let your mind wander and have the visual create the audio through you or through one, you know? literally said stream complete. It didn't even go yellow or anything. But anyway, I'm still back up. I'm gonna wait for Orion a little bit, so I'll be up for a little bit longer. Matt says, alien not good for hiding something such as driving UFO on the moon, lol lol. Thanks, man, I appreciate the compliment. You know, like, I want to say just one thing about the alien stuff. It's just like, I think it's really lost on us as mankind right now that it's already kind of incredible. No, it's not. That language I really need to change. It is like so incredible that we have a moon at all and that we're conscious at all. So like this idea that we're looking at this moon that's like incredible and just unbelievable and amazing and magnificent, majestic, and all the adjectives, that we're looking for aliens on top of that. It just seems like such a weird quest and desire to have aliens, or needing aliens to exist beyond the fact that you're already looking at this moon, which is just beyond understanding. The shadow, you're seeing just clouds go by the moon in different speeds, you know? Oh, the shadow that kind of dives across. So there are just tons of birds, bats, seagulls, owls, you know, high-flying birds at night, and especially against a full moon, which is very, very large considering, you know, what we see in the sky. So you're gonna get lots of little transits, things that are just mostly birds. A lot of things have been misidentified as birds, and I can't tell you how many UFO videos I've seen that are like, it's a UFO and it's 100% a bird. Matt said, they said there's a pyramid on the moon. If you can find it, that would be awesome. So there are a lot of shapes that look like pyramids on the moon. Almost every big crater has a central peak or several central peaks that all look like pyramid rocks. Same thing, can't tell you how many alien bases are misinterpreted central peaks of large craters. Yeah, I mean, that's not to say that there aren't things that pass in front of the moon that aren't, like, definitely crafts, or it just seems like it's stuff that, you know, mankind as we know it can build, you know? Like, if there are all these different craft that we see in public, there are just as many in private. You have lots of very, very rich people on Earth right now that are able to invest in technology that must be stuff that we can never even imagine. So I don't know if I need like an extraterrestrial race, but anyway, the point is, it's mostly incredible that we can see this moon. And so like I enjoy, like, you know, an open-minded conversation about the existence of extraterrestrials, like just anybody, but I tend to think that I don't think we would see them the way we have been led to believe on YouTube. Just like the idea that you can see a craft the size of, you know, let's say a person or two people, or like the size of an airplane even, from Earth to the moon is just like physically impossible with this technology. Now, if you were at an observatory with like a 30-meter telescope, then, you know, we would be talking about something and structures and crafts, but at this distance, all we can really see are like some of the larger features that are hundreds of kilometers across. Even if there were alien structures on the moon, you would never see them from Earth, from a home astronomer point of view. Never. It's just one of those things that just defies understanding, and a lot of it falls into the realm of speculation. And so I think, have I caught weird shit? Yeah, there's weird stuff that I can't explain, but there's definitely stuff like I'll give you a perfect example. Yo, what's up, Duckface? What's up, Big Headed? Just noticed y'all joining. Thanks for coming in at like 3:40 a.m. Yeah, so I was gonna give an example. I have this video in my transits playlist that I changed the title of. It's like formerly UFO, now ISS transits the moon. And because I made the video 3 years ago when I first started doing this stuff, I put in a title card that's baked into the video that says UFO, but honestly, I didn't understand what the ISS looked like when it passed in front of the moon. I hadn't done enough research, I hadn't filmed it before, and I just got taken by surprise because I saw this thing and I'm like, it has exhaust and it's not this and it's not that. And I went back and like checked it this year, and I realized like I was totally wrong. That's exactly what the ISS looks like when it crosses in front of the moon. And that's sort of why this research is important, for me at least, and I'm sure a lot of you like find it equally important, but so that's the type of stuff. It's been able to actually dispel some myths and rumors and beliefs that I like wasn't certain of, but that really irritated me, and now like I really know. Like the ET on the bike, you know, really looks like a bunch of balloons, but at the same time, like it could have been that refueling craft. And also, maybe it's not even public. Maybe all these things are private, like, but it doesn't mean that they have to be made like on Zubin El Janubi or like avian aliens on Mars. Like, you don't need these types of creatures in order to get like amazing crafts. The lunar wave stuff, like a lot of people who are skeptics think it's airplane contrails. Or like jet streams coming off of aircraft. Like I'd like it to be that, or I'd like it to be that easy, but for me, they have an intent. They're very skinny. They move across in a certain pattern. There's obviously some controversy around it, but lots of people have captured it. The Jupiter one was kind of like insane because Jupiter is so tiny in the sky, it's almost like a star size. And for the fact that like we caught any frames of this thing moving across Jupiter is kind of crazy. Like, I'll give you a perfect example why I don't think it's jet streams, because of the Jupiter wave. Essentially, like an airplane jet, unless it's like, I can't even imagine the circumstance where you'd see such like tiny fine lines in like an intentional movement pattern over the size, something the size of Jupiter. Now, I could be totally wrong. I could be proven wrong very soon by somebody who captures the airplane nearby and the two trails and debunks the lunar wave forever. I'm happy if that happens, and if it doesn't happen, I'm also fine. But you know how I feel? Like, it's just one of these things. I'm open to it. That's cool. Is it weird? Totally. I wish there was something like on a NASA paper or some scientific paper that was like, oh, this lunar wave is basically the moon passing through the Earth's magneto tail, and it creates this weird effect at a certain time. Like, all right, that's great. I mean, what do you guys think about what I'm talking about? It's just like I'm trying to be practical, because this idea that like we can be certain about these major things, like not feasible. So why bother, you know? Like, the simple stuff is just like watching, having fun, like chilling, listening to good music, and watching this moon and being like, wow, there's a fucking moon. Like, it doesn't fall to Earth. It doesn't like zap us. Well, it doesn't Frank zap us. Like, it's somehow almost exactly the size of the sun. Like, it affects the ocean tide. I mean, the basic stuff, the tides, the ovulation cycle, like major components of life. Will I be blown away if there are aliens? Hell yeah. But right now the moon, like when I readjusted my perspective, I realized that the moon is like so freaking powerful and amazing. And that's to say nothing of, you know, the sun, which is whatever you believe in, the sun doesn't run out, doesn't change in the course of like what we go day to day. You know, if you said that to a scientist, their instant reaction, or at least to me, has been like, no, but you don't understand. Back in the day it was this, and in the future it will be this. And to me, I instantly shut down when I hear that, because that idea is just so egomaniacal. To think that somebody can just say, hey, I have a bunch of numbers, and that I'm going to tell you that in 200 years the sun will do this, and be certain about it, is total horseshit. And you know, sometimes it's hard to tell somebody who you have respect for, like a teacher or a parent or a sibling or a friend even. But ultimately, like, it's horseshit, because you don't know the entire fundamental dynamics of the solar system, the ether, planetary dynamics, and to speculate that just because, you know, some numbers kind of resolve to zero, or even don't sometimes. But just the beauty of mathematics does not denote reality, for most. Yo, what's up, Vision? You finally made it? You're the last one to the party tonight. Unless you're working backwards, in which case you're the first again. Yeah, so the sun, you know, how the sun got there, like what's the surface of the sun, the difference between the spectrum analyses, the difference between the heat in the chromosphere and the surface, like what's the surface made of. If you just went down a sun trip, like, that's why I was doing Sun TV live for a while, because with the white light filter, it's just like a lot of work to do solar imaging in the daytime in Florida. It's like incredibly hot and ridiculous to do it manageably. But the sun is entirely workable. It should be streaming all the time. People should be analyzing sunspots and trying to figure out how it relates to Earth weather. We shouldn't have, if people don't trust agency science, they should do it themselves. You can get this, I mean, obviously it's expensive, but things like a Doppler-tuned calcium K filter will give you like incredible detail on prominences. You can see all the magnetics and how the sun really works. So like, I do the moon because I try and be reasonable with myself. There's only like, think about how many craters, if you guys have seen the last shows I've been doing with the Atlas, see how much there is to learn and how many cool features are on the moon. And on top of it, like how they all look in different phases and how they look over years. I mean, I'm rambling here, but like, think about how much there is to learn without bringing in speculative science. Or aliens, or the shape of the Earth, the shape of the Earth. But you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, the shape of the Earth matters, but right now that's one of those things that unless you're willing to fly up in a rocket, you're not going to really be able to take that view for yourself. And I laugh, but like, you know, because somebody really tried it. But the guys who are building rockets are not going to test this. And the guys who live inside the hollow Earth are not going to come out and tell you it's hollow. So I feel like what we can see is the moon and the sun and the stars. And like, you can see them instantly. So there's a lot of science to be done, is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be the science that's been done. Like that whole configuration up top there with Aristarchus, Copernicus, and Kepler, so cool. And then, you know, how the whole moon looks like this entire thing is all connected between Aristarchus coming down. It doesn't look like the lines come through all the way from Aristarchus to Tycho. And then Tycho goes all the way down. Kind of looks like this line goes through Sea of Serenity all the way to the top, to the far right, which is, what is that? That's Mare Frigoris. Maybe Anaxagoras' rays are coming through. And so, like, why does it look like that? And why aren't they constrained? Okay, Kanye, Earth. you know what I'm saying. What else? Like how the moon, you know, I'll list out a few more, just like how the moon was captured or created. You know, where is it going once it moves further away from us? Like where was it when it started moving away from us? Why is the dark side different? So anyway, there are a lot of reasons why the moon is important and why we should actually, you know, when we talk to people about the moon, it really, you know, I don't want to tell people how to act, but I've started to move away from leading with the moon conspiracy stuff versus like moon majesty stuff, where like, shit, we have a moon, it's so cool. Like, why do we need all that other stuff? Let's study the moon as it is. Let's learn at least the basics, you know, as a society. Actually, what's more fascinating in a way watching people is like how fast people tune out when you start talking about the moon. You know, the effect of years and years of propagandizing and undercutting the majesty of it within the same sentence. Like, I argue with people sometimes about Carl Sagan and how he would say something so amazing and then the same sentence sort of undercut that same concept. You know, even that whole idea of like the pale blue dot is just this poetic platitude of, you know, saying how incredible we are to exist at all, and then also saying that makes us insignificant. It's just so ridiculous. And, you know, maybe it wasn't nefarious, but I feel like he was a very smart man, that's for sure, but maybe not wise. Sabian says, Suspicious Observers is a good daily YouTube channel. So Ben Davidson has been doing this for a very long time, and I used to like scream at people. No, I used to just nag the hell out of people back in, I'll tell you, 2011, 2012, when Ben was doing Suspicious Observers, Eyes Open, No Fear. I would tell people, I'm like, yo, you don't understand, like, this cat is doing amazing electric weather. He's explaining how this is even before I was into Electric Universe. I was still on the UFO bandwagon. And I was like, no, but Ben got it, you know, like, he doesn't believe in UFOs, but whatever. I would watch that every day. Just because it's almost 4 a.m., I'm gonna be, well, honest. Now I watch Ben when I need the space weather, but I don't know if I can do it on a daily. Just, there's some anxiety on that channel. I don't know what it is, but it's an anxiety that exists on a lot of channels on YouTube right now that I'm not vibing with at all. Like, you can see how few people actually come to my show and how few views I get, but like, the whole point for me is that it's gotta be fun and it's gotta be relaxing, because that's what space feels like. It feels cool and non-judgmental. And I get on YouTube and it's all judgmental and antagonistic and belittling, and it's not all, but it's a lot of that. So I don't think Suspicious Observers is like, he doesn't talk shit to people, but there's anxiety on that channel. That's all I'm gonna say. But there's a lot of good information on that channel as well. I think somebody earlier mentioned, I'm just gonna say it because whatever. Somebody was like talking about Bruce Sees All. Man, like, channels like that are instant checkout for me, to be honest. What's the other guy named? John Leonard Watson. The guy who there's certain people who abuse the trust of their users, I feel. I don't know, people want to see the moon, and they want to see the moon in detail. And to tell people that they're seeing things that they're not is just, I don't know, it seems duplicitous, to be honest. No matter how good the footage is, or how much money you throw at it, or how good of an attitude you have about it, if you're consciously misleading people, I think this is the whole thing. This is the whole point of why I do what I do. If people don't like that, then it's fine, but, you know, there's so much bullshit anyway that I think it's a challenge to actually stay neutral. It's a challenge to not, like, go with the status quo. And to be honest, the status quo is ufology. It might just be, Sabian, it might just be that I watched it for like 3 years, you know, in a row, like almost every day from like 2012 on until a few years ago, and then I was just like, it got to me. I think it might even be the whole eyes open, no fear type of thing. Like, I don't think it's eyes open, no fear necessarily. I think it's calmness and politeness and non-anxiety. I don't think there's an awakening. I don't think people need to wake up at all. I think people are already, you know, they wake up every day, and they die, and they dream, and they sleep, and they fuck. And I'm telling you, man, the more I see it, the more I see slogans. Wake up. Neo, wake up. Like, no, really, the ultimate kind of thing is perspective. That's what it seems like the wise people were trying to tell us. All the philosophers, that when you really read it and you really try and say what this, you know, the middle way is no way at all. And as a kid, I didn't get that. I just didn't understand that. But yeah, Sabian, that doesn't mean you shouldn't watch Suspicious Observers. If that's for you, then that's cool, you know? For me, it's just like, I definitely recommend him on a regular basis when earthquakes happen or space weather. Like, he's all about that. He's got it. And I really enjoyed his talks at the Electric Universe conference. I think it's just the kind of daily dose. I'll be honest, I think it's really the format on YouTube of that 5-minute quick fix of science. I think I've become kind of, I don't know, it triggers me. Not triggers me, that's a poor word. It's just not my thing. It's like that, I don't know, like those Veritasium, I'm gonna call out a bunch of channels, but like there's some really big YouTube channels that are just like almost to the level of obnoxious in terms of how they present information, how quickly they present very large topics without any type of backstory or information in weird contexts, and it's doing damage, like it really is. So if I can't go out there and like change those channels, and there's certainly no way I'm gonna get on that channel and comment or do anything like that, then the only thing I can do that's really positive is create good content and present it, and hopefully people will seek it out. Like, some of the best channels that I know on YouTube are, you know, have less than 20,000 subs and get less than 2,000 views per video, and they're the best, like for me. So I don't know if it's necessarily a popularity contest. So I feel like a lot of YouTube is a popularity contest. And that's not to say that I don't like try and get the best possible footage and the coolest possible camera, but that's just part of the hobby. It's like the hobby, that's a poor word. Part of the craft and the work is to do it with the best equipment that you can afford. So yeah, I like that it's 4K, but do I need 1 million views? Nah, I don't care. Like, I'm happy if one person hangs out and really gets something from it. I'm happy if 10. And honestly, I'd be doing it anyway, but I feel like, you know, like I like to share food and music, so I figured share astronomy, and then you realize like how little astronomy we really get. Go look at, I mean, you guys know this, I'm sure, because in the circles, but if you see like all the real official agency channels, I mean, I don't want to say CGI, fake, but it's not fake. It's, you know, CGI simulations based on math. It's CGI based on data acquired. But really, you see like 1 or 2 real photos, barely any actual footage, and tons of renders. That to me is fucking is like crazy, you know. Just that to me is the Twilight Zone type reality that we live in, you know, where the people that you thought like had the money and the telescopes would show you everything. For example, like Keck, or let me just jump into the chat real quick. Sabian says, "Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. This is, you offer raw beauty, amazing views, and music. Thank you. Thank you for appreciating that. I mean, it's a collective experience." Reality Guru, what's up? 4 p.m. Western Australia. Moon just peeking over eastern horizon. Hello. Hello to you, Reality Guru. Welcome to the channel, and happy full moon. Happy full moon to everybody hanging out. 4 a.m. I'm just going on a train of thought right here. It's late. I'm a little tipsy. Or I'm a lot tipsy, actually. But it's good. It's fun to watch this moon and share some thoughts. And I would hope that we all become more discerning with our content. I mean, I have, like, I used to watch a lot more things right now, and, like, it's a lot less varied, but the stuff that I actually watch really holds merit. Nice, man. Got that 8. This is the 8-inch, yeah. You got a Nexstar as well? I don't know, you guys have any thoughts on what I was saying, or should I keep rambling, or should I shut the F up? Just an absolutely gorgeous moon, Pisces moon. Let's see what the Algonquin tribes were talking about, what moon this is. Didn't get a chance to look it up today. Sturgeon moon, all right. I'll take your sturgeon. Called it the Sturgeon Moon because they knew the sturgeon of the Great Lakes and Lake Champlain were most readily caught during this full moon. They also called August's moon the full green corn moon. Different tribes use different moon names. Other examples for August are the wheat cut moon, the moon when all things ripen, the Dakota Suxi, right? Dakota Sus. And blueberry moon, the Ojibwe. Man, I should really look up a few more of these cool names. The Ojibwe. Get some ideas. Keep rambling. Alright, reality of physics can't explain why we only see one side of our moon either. I thought you had the 9.25. No, man, there are two moon channels. There's Paul and Keith Space Imaging. They got the 9.25, I think a CPC. I got the 8-inch Nexstar. They're in Miami, and somebody find, where's Keith? I forget. Anyway, Paul and Keith Space Imaging. I do the other thing, the other type of imaging. Yeah, so I got the 8-inch Nexstar running right now, and I have a CPC 11-inch on the other side of the house that I don't move around, but I will start. I basically stream on the 11-inch from, I guess, full moon. I might have done 11 today, but I was out. So maybe tomorrow, day after, I'll start streaming on the 11, and I got like a small refractor as well. Physics can't explain why we only see one side of the moon. I mean, there are diagrams, and some of that makes sense, but there's also, it's just an amazing thing, though. Either way, like the fact that the moon shows us one face is just like an excellent thing to debate and talk about. And I know debate is the same thing as talk about, but debate, discuss, conceive of, teach the kids. Like, it should be a really primary function. I mean, I also believe in things like music history and stuff like that. You should teach people why music is good. Same thing with the moon. You should teach people why the moon is important. This idea that the government is able to say, like, the moon is important or not important is just so ridiculous. Whatever they think is fine, but humankind, like, when you wake up in the morning, you got a moon and a sun. It's yours. Keep rambling? Okay, cool. Yeah, so the importance of space is something that's really overlooked constantly, and it's turned into not just mythos, like this mythology that's been sold to us in movies. I know there's this typical understanding of like Hollywood and CGI and Hollywood basement and cliches like that, but forget all that. I'm just talking about even the implication of the movies that you see or that Marvel pitches. Like, I don't know if you guys watch this stuff, but I don't watch these movies anymore. But I do sometimes watch things like Cinema Sins or like Cliff Notes or certain breakdowns of big movies just to kind of see what's out in pop culture right now. It's my only like morsel into things. I don't listen to pop music at all. I don't look at pictures from political campaigns. I don't vote. I don't read any of the big journals. I don't read any of the popular science stuff, like, intentionally, not in a way that's like, oh, screw it, nothing means anything, but just that stuff is toxic. Like, at some point in your life, you got to realize, like, I realized that, I think, what was it, like, one of the first times that I really started to, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, no, popular science? Not popular science. Popular mechanics is whitewashing 9/11. Oh my God. Maybe I was like 25. I was just like, damn, that fucking sucks. Like, I always thought, magazines like that actually weren't biased, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that there are kids now who are like in their early 20s who get it. There are teenagers now who understand that popular mechanics is like complete bullshit. But for me, like, I grew up, thinking that there was corruption, but not ultimate corruption. I didn't think like everything was completely controlled from the top down. And this is not all about like it's all evil and it's all bad. It's just like the way things really are. The whole point, really, I find in life is to just see how insane it really can be, and to continue to move with it and laugh with it. It's or to be miserable with it. Some people like to move with the current and see the bad in it, and there are some people who like to go with the current and laugh with it. For me, it's always just it's been laughing with the current and at you know, even at myself, I'm happy to, like, I was laughing at that video that I changed the title to. I'm like, really, I really had to write UFO because I was so excited to call it a UFO. Like, what was that about? Like, my desire and my need, my ego to, like, write UFO on my video. Or do I believe in UFOs? You know, like, it's really important to kind of discern, like, what you're really trying to get out of what you ask. Because then then you're really... But anyway, yeah, so I thought, I was like, oh man, I should have really considered this. Like, maybe I should have been like, you know, like, I also consider, I'm like, should we just call them unidentified objects? This unidentified flying object is kind of course it's, like, I don't know. For me, it's just an unidentified object at this point, when I see these things that pass. And, you know, the other night I caught something crazy in the beginning of the stream for like 10 minutes, this dark object. You know, like, was that asteroid Bennu, or was it like some craft, or who the hell, or a drone? I don't know. Reality Guru says, did you buy the Tesla in space footage, TBS? I'll tell you, like, I think that there is a null zone up at the Kármán line, like 65 miles? About 100 kilometers to 200 kilometers, maybe 300 kilometers up from Earth, which is a fraction of, like, what space really is. NASA defines space as about 60 miles up. So in this area, I feel like there's a magnetic null zone where you have the ISS and you have maybe all the satellites, or there are shells where the magnetics kind of flip polarity, and in between these shells you have these zones where there's no pull on anything. It's basically no gravity, what we experience as gravity, whatever you believe that. And so that's where you can use these ion propulsion engines to go around Earth and orbit, and all these things are coming from there. So can Elon get his stuff to that place with a car, you know, that's hollowed out? Yeah, probably. Is it a good idea? I mean, like, do we really need more space junk? Like, this idea that, you know what bugs me the most? Like, this shared culpability of mankind, where, like, you see all these villains, like, mankind sucks, we're killing Earth, we killed the blah, and we're killing more, and we need to blah. I'm like, hell no, though, man. Like, I didn't put space junk out there. Like, I think you guys, you small group of people, put space junk out there. Like, same thing with wars, you know, like, okay, fine, there's war. But, like, we're a warlike people. We're warlike. No. Like, small group of people are warlike who start wars. Simple. Like, it's just so fucking dumb simple. But no one really just says it like that. They're always like, oh, this, and they should stop all wars. No, like, wars are gonna happen. But we're not all complicit in their making. And so shared culpability pisses me off. So the idea of, like, we're putting space junk. No, you're putting space junk. Small groups of people, small board people, tiny little whiteboard people, putting pieces of space junk out there. So, like, this idea that 2 million people watch the SpaceX stream and they clap to put more space junk out there, like, actually, I just kind of proved my own point, like, people accepting that and not questioning it. But I certainly, I looked at that stream and I was watching not whether they would launch the rocket. Now, I will say bringing back the boosters and landing them is a technological marvel. Like, you can't argue with that. That stuff is real. Whether it's 100 kilometers up and they bring it back, regardless of that, like, it's still unbelievable and amazing. So I'm not going to deny that. But besides that, like, you get this car up there for what? Like, you're like, he's essentially a god at this point to most people. The idea that you need to market further makes no sense to me. The idea that we need more space junk makes no sense to me. And the shared culpability thing. Like, if we just had I say if we had, like, things would really happen. Of course, Huffington Post is not going to write an article that says Billionaire removes shared culpability from Earth, claims that he alone put space junk in the sky. Of course, they're not going to write that article, but I know that that's what the article. I know that that's the article that should be written. Same thing with war. Same thing with pharma. Same thing with politics. There's a group of people that controls it. They're gonna control it within an inch of its life. And the main thing that people can do is just change their perspective on things. Because you're coming to a game where, like, you're already 10 pieces down, and they're telling you, like, come, you can win. You can definitely win. What do you mean you don't have a queen and 2 rooks and a knight? But no, you can win. And it's horseshit, like, you can't win. So winning really is about attention. And when people tell me, no, you don't understand, it's a fascist government, we need to pay as much attention as possible, I'm like, no, that's the exact opposite. The less attention you give, the less it exists. That's how the world actually works. Because that's really what happens. If you don't focus on something, you end up focusing on the other thing, and that's what happens. All right, that was a train of thought. But yeah, I mean, I buy the footage. I buy the reverse rocket stuff too. Could it be faked? Yeah, but I think it's real. But can he break low Earth orbit? No, that hasn't been done. Can Jeff Bezos do it? No. Can Richard Branson do it? No. Why can no one break low Earth orbit with humans? It's insane at this point. Like, it's either super duper easy and they're doing it and no one can tell, or it's extremely, extremely, extremely hard, and 50 years ago it was done miraculously out of time. There's this really interesting this video with Jeff Bezos and I think Buzz, or like Gene Cernan, or like one of the astronauts sitting next to him. I should know, but I only saw it once in passing. And Jeff Bezos, you know, the head of Amazon, who's basically the god at this point, the richest man on earth. He says something like, Apollo is out of the timeline, or something. It was an event that happened out of mankind's timeline. Something like that doesn't happen. You know, it was kind of tiptoeing around the fact that, like, it's nothing short of miraculous. And why it's not like everyday news, even conspiracy-wise, like, even not conspiracy-wise, sorry. The moon landings should be like the leading headline every single day forever. I mean, the level of complexity, and I mean, really, you know what I mean? Like, if you feel me, let me know in the chat. But when it really dawns on you as to how difficult it actually is to walk on the surface of the moon and to bring somebody back from the moon in physical terms, it's so staggering that it literally boggles the mind. And yeah, you know, you'll get people telling me, oh yeah, it did. I'm like, but then why don't we talk about it that way today? Like, right now we talk about it like, what do you mean? We went to the moon? All right, it's fucking boring, man. The moon's boring. Why would you go back to the moon? There's no money. No one wants to go back to... The public has lost interest in the moon. I mean, you've heard everything. You know how many times I've heard this bullshit thing where, like, people don't want to go back to the moon. Really? Which people? You know? But we don't have the money. Who's we? And which money? Like, how much money do you need? Do you really need Thor Ragnarok? Or Black Panther? Or is there now water on the moon? You know what I mean? Like the level of importance is this insane, I gotta say, fucking insane Twilight Zone type bullshit. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? I mean, really? You're sitting there, you're like, really, Disney needs another $1 billion in revenue, but you know, we had, and dare I say, whatever, 12 white men walk on the moon. I mean, staggering achievement. Staggering. mind-blowing, unquestionably the most incredible achievement ever made by any person ever. How do we go day by day talking about orange-haired dude and weird Rihanna and like just weird shit, just the weirdest fucking stupid, I'm just gonna rant here, just some weird stupid shit. Yet I'm supposed to like live in a reality where we like walked on the surface of this thing that you're looking at, this like an alternate celestial body than Earth, with its own harmonics, its own magnetics. I mean, it's so profound. The fact that it's been relegated to these, you know, and that's not to take away. Think about like, I feel the same way about like the stuff from Pluto or Juno missions or Cassini. You know, like you watch the Cassini breakdown with Carolyn Porco, who ran the missions, and this woman is amazing, like just awesome, cool chick who's been running this shit forever. And Cassini is amazing, and these shots from Saturn are amazing, and they have slides from Star Wars and Star Trek references and animated GIFs, and it's poorly put together, and it's like seniors in the room. It's treated so, like, just so insanely. It's saying that like there are no young people who are interested in science who have like a brain to get this around. It's like, I can't feel like that. Like it's just so, I've seen too many people in real life who are just really smart, who are into things, and yet the way the science is presented to us is just mind-numbing. What is it? Psychild? Visuals, sheer war pressure and the reckless abandon that comes with the need to outdo your enemy is what got us there. Yeah, but I mean, that's just a story. Like, when you really look at the history, Russia needed, what was it? Was the potato deal? And honestly, man, like, Russia basically helps us bring people down from the ISS. There's no, it's a public thing. It's like a charade. Not a charade, it's a theatrical event that the parties at the top know very well, and they present it to the public as like there's an issue, but there was no Cold War. Like, there was no enemy, there was no, like, in the real, not in the fake, like, public circuit. So the idea that you had the entire, and even then, like, you don't need all the people working at Apollo to do this, on the Apollo missions to do this. You don't need all the people, you don't need to tell a lot of people. And again, I don't think that robots are exempt from going into space. So, like, I think you can definitely send objects. Actually, I shouldn't say definitely. It seems like you can. The pictures from Cassini and Juno, and you know, these are pictures that I have a hard time saying are fake because they look real. They look like they're supposed to look. You know, I mean, the Apollo missions look the way they're supposed to look. There are pictures with stars in the background. You know, they did take a telescope to the moon at one point. There's a picture of Venus from the moon. So there are things that seem very real. But then there are also things like radiation not being an issue at all. And yeah, you tell me up and down about how Van Allen redacted, or he wasn't that serious about it, but he really was serious about it. Oh, the radiation wasn't a big deal. Like, that's an endless debate. But you know, you don't hire somebody and send up satellites and put out a report that says deadly lethal radiation, and then all of a sudden it's not a thing, because it wasn't a thing. And then you ask them, they're like, oh, well, we didn't really think about it. Anyway, point is, I feel like the moon thing should be talked about every single day. And I mean, I'm doing it, but I feel like publicly, man, like, so few things are as important to understand and to grasp as the fundamental mechanics of celestial bodies that control life as we know it, and very possibly consciousness to a degree, or maybe entirely, like the frequency resonance between the moon and the sun and Earth and all the planets and the celestial spheres maybe all affect how we actually perceive physics or philosophy or even consciousness at the fundamental core, simply because, you know, the attribution of the cosmological constant to something like the electric universe gives you these much cooler ideas where you're intrinsically tied to the rest of the universe and its actions. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow in everybody's ear. 4:27 on the clock. J Bond says, we may not be doing it, but we are allowing it to be done. Well, it's not really apparent how you can really stop something like that with the... Yeah. Marches don't work, voting doesn't work, you don't have the money to do it. You know, when you're faced with concepts that have certain futility, you have to start thinking, well, I started thinking much larger than the concepts themselves. You know, okay, war's gonna happen, but we still gotta talk about the moon. Oh, politics? Oh yeah, but we still gotta talk about the moon. You know, like once you get into that zone and you're like, no wait, it's really about space, it's about reintegration. Yeah, I mean, that's what I ask a lot of the times. Like, for me, that's why I'm still a skeptic at all. Mostly, J Bond says, is there a reason no one has landed on the moon for decades? Almost 50 years. Next year will be 50 years. And no other country, even us, we haven't replicated the feat, which is, again, the most staggering feat probably ever. All right, maybe I've lost everybody at this point. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out. Actually, let me just check on Orion real quick. Maybe we can get a shot of M42 before close. Nah, it's too far east right now. It has come up, but I don't know. Next few nights when I'm on the 11, I'll try and do a show where I stay up till 3, maybe a week from now, and check out M42 and some nice detail, finally. All right, last snapshot of the night. Happy full moon, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, listening to me ramble for a while, talk about some weird shit. I don't know. I think it's going to be a great day tomorrow. So thanks again. Sleep well. I know I will. Peace.